What is going on, Wastelanders? It is me, Loneville Wanderer, here with some more gaming news for you. Just a heads up, a couple of you asked in my last video, Lone, why do you sound so tired? And the answer is quite simple, because I am pretty tired, I'm pretty exhausted. I'm actually getting procedure done tomorrow, where hopefully it'll result in me being able to get a proper night's sleep for the first time in fucking years. Several years back, and by several I mean 7 years, I suffered a bit of nerve damage in my foot, and quite recently it's been just constantly waking me up in the middle of the night. Like, I'm talking 3, 4, 5 times every night consistently. I'm hoping that this procedure that gets done will actually allow me to get some sleep, because it's affecting me in my work, and I'm just tired all the time. So hopefully that all goes good. And also this weekend I'm heading back home to spend some time with the family for Easter, and also with my girlfriend. So suffice it to say, I'm not going to be anywhere near social media. I want to try not to be anyways. I'm a Twitter addict, I admit that. But I'm going to try my best not to be anywhere near my phone. And I'm not going to be near my PC anyway, so there's no way I can make videos. I was planning on actually making a video to go up over the weekend, but I'm just not going to have the time, because I literally tomorrow morning I need to drive home, and I made 2 videos for today, so it's just not going to happen. But I hope you guys can actually bear with me while I don't have any content on my channel for about a week. I'd really appreciate that. So anyways, today we're talking about 3 different pieces of news, gaming news that is, and as always, please put your thoughts about each of the topics in the comments below. And firstly, we're going to start off talking about Nintendo and the alleged console that's coming out this year, the Nintendo NX. Well, it's codenamed NX. No one knows what it's really going to be called. If you haven't been living under a rock recently, you'll know that Nintendo is planning to come out with something new, a new console that is, and there's been so many different rumors about it. Recently there was an allegedly leaked photo of the NX controller, and in the past couple of days, today, fuck, I'm tired, there's actually been a rumor that Nintendo is planning to end production for the Wii U. This year, in fact. And this comes as a relative shock, because typically, from past experiences anyways, a company such as Nintendo or Microsoft or Sony will try and support their last gen hardware for a couple of years at least of releasing a brand new hardware. So the 360 and the PS3 were still supported, and probably still are supported. Relatively minor support, that is, but still somewhat. I don't know if they're still in production per se. But the fact that there are rumors that the Wii U is going to be stopping production this year, before we've even heard officially from Nintendo about the next gen console, is pretty worrisome for those that have actually purchased a Wii U, because stopping production will mean a potential splintering and new software being released for the Wii U. And I'm sure many people have just purchased Wii U's, and now they're going to have to face a new console coming out, and Nintendo shifting a lot of their focus and a lot of their resources to making titles for that new console. And there's even rumors about how the new Zelda game, which was meant to be released on the Wii U, is now going to be released on both. So there's going to be a better and more premium Zelda title being released on a different hardware. If I just purchased a Wii U, I'd feel pretty jaded about that. But what I wanted to talk about in this video was the rumor itself, and why it actually probably makes a lot of sense, while I've literally just said that it was a surprise, because that's typically not how things are done with consoles and hardware. The fact is that the Wii U was such a flop, and people have noted that Nintendo likes to go with alternate cycles with their hardware. So you'll have a very successful piece of hardware such as the Nintendo 64, and the next one is a flop, which the GameCube was, and then the next one is very successful, such as the Wii, and then the next one after that is not successful, such as the Wii U. So for all intents and purposes, the next Nintendo hardware, if we're using that tradition as precedent, the next piece of hardware should be successful, codename NX that is. But we have no idea at this stage. I'm still a bit skeptical as to whether the NX is actually going to be successful, especially because from the rumors they're trying this, melding between handheld and console. It seems not confusing, but it doesn't seem to meld well or match well with the current needs and wants of the consumer, because people have gone away from dedicated handheld devices, well, handheld devices in general, because our phones can be used for anything, whether it's playing games, watching movies, or whatever. So the fact that Nintendo is still trying its best to hold on to this handheld concept, albeit it's in a different form. It's not purely handheld, it's again an amalgamation between handheld and traditional console. So that is a bit different in that sense. But the fact that they're trying to go for a handheld concept is very against what the trends of gaming are. I mean, people are playing on their phones, as I've said. People aren't playing on traditional consoles. I mean, that's why the PS Vita is very, very unsuccessful. Sorry, Maddie, but it's not being supported by Sony anymore, and a lot of the services for the handheld are being cut off, unfortunately. And apparently, it's not even just the Wii U that's going to be ceasing production soon. But the reports note, and if you want to see the gamesindustry.biz article, it's in the description below. All the articles are always posted in the description below, by the way. They're actually discontinuing Wii U accessories, and they're planning to run through their inventory of systems and hardware this year as well. Now, while Nintendo admittedly has come out to say these rumors aren't true, we're actually still supporting the Wii U, that's probably something that everyone would expect them to say. And there could be a lot of credibility to these rumors that they're ceasing production for the Wii U, because the fact is, the next console, let's call it the NX, needs to be a hit for Nintendo. They need to knock it out of the park, because if they don't, they're seriously going to need to consider whether they keep trying to be a hardware developer on top of being a software developer. You can't have two flops of hardware in a row and expect to keep your business going. Yes, Nintendo has crazy amounts of money in reserves, and by crazy, I mean crazy, like hundreds of millions of dollars they have in reserves, because of how stupidly successful their titles have been. They have stupid amounts of money, so they're not going bust, or they're not going broke anytime soon. But from a business perspective, you're not going to release a third console if your previous two were a complete flop. So that's why I'm saying that the NX needs to be somewhat successful for Nintendo if they want to keep being a hardware producer, as opposed to just solely a software developer. And if they wanted to do that, I'm telling you, Sony and Microsoft will welcome Nintendo titles with open arms on their consoles. I mean, the amount of people, simply because they were fans of Nintendo when they were kids, that would buy a Zelda title or a Pokemon title or a Donkey Kong title, whatever, on their Xbox One or PS4 would be stupid amounts. Stupid amounts of people would buy those software titles on those consoles. But the only reason why they don't do it is because they're not available. They're only available on a Nintendo proprietary hardware. And to be honest though, Nintendo's probably the only company that could actually support having a console hardware that predominantly has first-party intellectual property. I think if Sony or if Microsoft ever tried to have a console that really didn't support third-party, they'd go bust in a second, and their console would be completely irrelevant. But at least with Nintendo, and this is coming from a lot of nostalgic reasons, but I honestly think that Nintendo, out of any other developer, out of any other publisher, has the best IP, hands down. Pokemon, Zelda, they have such an awesome and incredible suite of software that only they could actually have a successful piece of hardware or a console with very minimal third-party support. And that's been the reality for Nintendo throughout the years. You know, they've had a lot of third-party publishers just not work with them because of several reasons, but they've still managed to actually keep running. And I think, again, the only reason that they can manage to do that is by having awesome titles. And people are willing to buy a Nintendo console just to play the Nintendo games. People have been shown to be willing to do that. But the reality is, if they want a truly successful console, they need to work with third-party publishers. And apparently there are rumors that they're planning to work with EA heavily for the next NX or the next Nintendo console. So those are going to be interesting times. We'll see how those go. But let me know what you guys think about that particular topic. The next piece of news is that the Fallout 4 revamped survival mode, let's call it, is actually entering a PC beta next week. Bethesda Game Studios tweeted out, and also Bethesda Softworks as well, that the Fallout 4 survival mode overhaul should be in Steam beta next week. Hashtag please stand by. And I know a lot of people are looking forward to this because the survival mode as it exists now in Fallout 4 is, let's be honest, it's pretty dull. A lot of the people that have played it extensively have shared their sentiment that it's not really that interesting. Enemies are more bullet sponges than actually being more difficult in a true sense. And there hasn't been those, traditional aspects that we saw in the hardcore mode for New Vegas that people really come to love. And I was surprised about that, to be honest. People loved the essential needs from New Vegas, whereby you had to eat and drink to be able to survive. I played New Vegas for the very first time with hardcore mode on, only because I needed to get all the achievements. But it was fun, to be honest. Like, it has a completely different concept, a completely different approach to the game that you need to be constantly aware of as you're playing. And the survival mode as it exists now in Fallout 4 just doesn't have that. It's relatively bland. So I think this is why Bethesda, and again, I'm surprised I didn't do this on release of the game, but this is why Bethesda is going back and changing, because they realize that this survival mode as it exists in its current form is just not interesting. It's not compelling. And I've talked about this in the past. They plan to add some really interesting features, such as not being able to manually save your game, such as not being able to fast travel. They're going to be adding the features that you need to eat, sleep, drink, etc. But also apparently there's going to be chemical effects and poison effects from what I've read. And if I'm wrong about that, I apologize, but I'm just operating on memory here. But it seems to be interesting. I know a lot of people aren't completely sold on not being able to fast travel and not being able to manually save your game, but it's different. At least it's different, and different doesn't always mean bad. Once we get it in our hands and once we see what it's like, then we can judge, because who knows exactly how they're going to implement it. So I am excited for it, and I'd like to know if you guys are also excited for it too. And lastly, we have Doom news, and the multiplayer modes for the game have actually been revealed by Bethesda in a new video, and you're seeing that gameplay on screen right now. And what are the new modes? Well, if you go to the Bethesda.net article in the description below, you'll see them in full, but I'm just going to name them quickly for you. The first one is called Soul Harvest. You have Freeze Tag, you have Warpath, you have Domination, Traditional Team Deathmatch, and Clan Arena. I'll now provide a brief explanation of each of them, so you don't have to read the full article if you don't want to. Soul Harvest is similar to TDM, but instead of racking up points with every kill, you actually need to collect the souls of your fallen foes. So think of Kill Confirmed from Call of Duty, for example. And each soul will only remain in the world for a limited amount of time, so you need to make sure that you pick it up when you kill someone. For Freeze Tag, rather than killing your foes, opponents are actually frozen in place, which immobilize them, and then teammates can actually thaw their allies by standing nearby for a set amount of time. And victory is earned by completely freezing the opposing team, so every player on the opposing team has to be frozen for you to win. And if both teams are still unfrozen when time runs out, then the team with the most active players around will win. That actually sounds really, really interesting. And then you have Warpath, which is a King of the Hill concept, and it's a single capture point that moves around the map along a set pathway. Domination is like your Call of Duty domination, where you have up to 3 static capture points that are spread out across a map. Players spawn on different sides of the map, and players can control these capture points by clearing out enemies and standing within the designated zone. Then TDM is your typical TDM, and Clan Arena is a game of elimination, so last team standing wins. Once you're dead, there's no respawning or anything like that, and demons aren't available during this mode. That was a very, very quick description of each of the modes, and I encourage you to read the article in full. But to be honest, this game is shaping up to be really, really cool, and I'm really loving it because not only does it have the multiplayer, but it seems to have a great single player. Now, I'm saying great pretty freely here because we have no idea at this stage, and I'm kind of getting caught up in the hype. But it looks fucking just gory and fun, and I'm missing just having fun in games. Even when you saw the first bits of Doom gameplay, or we saw the first bits of Doom gameplay at E3 of last year, people were in the crowd at E3 just, shouting in laughter and enjoyment, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm actually missing that in games lately, and Doom seems like like the kind of game that it's just going to make me laugh and enjoy playing games again, particularly if I play with like Maddie and Noah and some of my other friends and all of that. So it looks to be a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments below whether you're excited for the new Doom game this year. Again, it's May 13. It's coming out from memory. But yeah, let me know. So anyway, Space Sanders, that's all from me. This has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself, and as always, keep fighting the good fight.